Welcome back to The Pulse. With us now here at our studios is a lawyer and two-term assemblywoman in the Nevada Assembly, District 18, who is running for re-election this year, Venicia Considine. Assemblywoman Venicia Considine, welcome to The Pulse. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Please tell our viewers a bit about yourself first before we go into the question.
Okay, I'm Venicia Considine. I represent Assembly District 18, which is on the southeast side of Las Vegas and a little bit of Henderson. It encompasses Boulder Highway from Samstown to Galleria. That's kind of the heart of my district.
Okay.
And it includes the Wetlands Park. If you've never been to the Wetlands Park, it's an amazing, quiet, wonderful area, as well as the Bird Preserve is out there as well. And I've served 2 terms, and I am running for my 3rd term in the Assembly.
Thank you. The wetland parks is the one it's like south of what would be like the Hollywood Boulevard. There's a big area there. There are slopes and and some little lakes.
Right, there's some lakes. That's where all the water ends up going towards towards Lake Mead. And what's amazing is they have tours there. There's an actual park, and then you have the wetlands that goes all the way to Lake Las Vegas.
I've been to some of them, but I've never, it's the first time I heard that it was called the wetland parks or the wetland area.
So what committees you are a part of in the Assembly?
So this past session, I was on the Judiciary Committee for the first time. I was on Natural Resources, and I was also on the Revenue Committee. My first session, I was on Government Affairs and also on the Commerce and Labor. So I've had a really good opportunity to learn all different facets of the government and how all of the state departments work together.
When you say that the Revenue Committee, is that like the equivalent of the Ways and Means Committee in Congress?
But Ways and Means is where they give money out, I guess. It's when they take all the taxes and where they allocate and where it goes. Whereas revenue is we look at all of the revenue coming in and all the different types of taxes. And then we look at what can be raised or lowered. But the Ways and Means sort of writes the checks.
Oh, okay. All right. Venicia, you were a sponsor of a bill relating to some protections of tenants, more like a regulation about landlords. What was that bill about, and what happened to that bill?
So I sponsored AB 218, and the goal of AB 218 was to get rid of junk fees and what I called resort fees. So the idea of that bill was what you're told your rent is what your rent is.
Yes.
And there are no other extra fees. There was another bill about capping application fees and capping admin fees.
Yes.
So this one was a step beyond that, because once you were told your rent is $1,200, and you've already paid your non-refundable fees to get there, when you sit down to sign your lease, it should be unlawful that at that point you're told, oh, your sewer and trash is an extra $40 a month, and the key to the pool is an extra $15 a month, and your entertainment thing is an extra $20 a month. All of these extra fees that you have no control over and you don't know about until you sit down to sign the lease. So the idea was your rent should incorporate all the fees that you don't have an option to decide about.
Yeah, I know there was an effort and the bill passed in the House and in the Senate concerning rent regulation, but it was vetoed by the governor. Okay, is that something that can be revisited in the next session, especially if we get into a veto-proof Senate?
Well, there were several bills that had to do with tenants. There was one about sort of capping rent and the raising of the rent for seniors specifically. And then there was my bill, the AB 218, and there were other bills that would have capped application fees and all of that. And the governor did veto all of those. Okay. So the Assembly last session, we did have a supermajority. We had 28 Democrats.
Are there anywhere in the horizon any ideas about where and from a form of taxes or amendment to state taxes that might be done to increase state funds?
So that's actually something that the Revenue Committee tries to look at. And we have the interim committees that were going on that end. Actually, my next Revenue Committee meeting is next week. But we're looking at that. What we're coming off of right now as a state and most of the country is we had the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan funds.
Yes, yes.
And I think that the last 4 years or so, that was additional money that was fantastic and was really used for great things. But that ends in 2026.
Oh, okay.
So I think that we need to reprioritize the taxes that we do have that come in.
Yes.
And maybe not focus on sort of the shiny things that might be better for tourists. Maybe focus a little bit more on, our infrastructure, our schools, housing, affordable housing, those areas, and sort of focus our taxes on that. As far as finding new forms of taxes, that's always a problem and an issue, and anything like that would require 2/3 of both houses to even have that conversation and pass that bill. So we don't really focus on that. We focus on being responsible stewards of the tax money that we get.
Yes. Okay. But I know there was one of the heated issues, contentious issues about taxation was the mining tax in Nevada. Where is it going right now? What's happening with it?
In my first session, we reallocated where that mining tax goes, and that mining tax now goes to education.
Yes.
So we actually get more taxes from mining for education than cannabis. So that's been really, really helpful. It's a pretty good, solid revenue stream. And what is nice about the diversification of those mining taxes is when our economy goes down, mining usually goes up. So it's a good balance between those because we'll have a good source of revenue because our education system still needs a lot of support and a lot of help.
Yes, thank you. What about the taxes from cannabis, which I know it was designated for our schools? Is that already getting allocated to fund schools in Nevada? Yeah.
So when the cannabis tax first started, I think a lot of people thought it was a panacea. I think they thought that there was going to be so much money brought in by the cannabis taxes that it would solve so many problems, but it really didn't. Initially, that money went specifically to the school accounts. But then in 21 and 23, we changed how we pay for the schools, the tax money that goes to the schools. So the cannabis tax money does go into the general fund and then comes out and goes to the schools.
Oh, I see.
But it's not as much money as people had hoped. And since so many other states now have legalized cannabis, it's not what we thought it would be.
Well,
but we also have the local cannabis taxes too. So there's state taxes and then the local.
Oh, I see.
And I don't know how many people are aware of it, but the first $12 million of the cannabis taxes goes to homelessness services in Clark County, which I always think is a great use of that tax money, and I'm just not sure how many people are aware of it.
I don't think, even me, I haven't heard of that, but it's a good thing that at least, these funds are being spent on our homeless population and programs that the state can do about it.
So what are the important things for the people of Nevada that you're thinking that should be addressed in the next assembly?
So I think what we should always be addressing is the fact that people move here because we're a city and a state of opportunity.
Yes.
You can come here from wherever you came from and go to school. You can afford to go to UNLV. It's how I was able to afford to go to UNLV because it was affordable and we had good jobs. And you could pay your rent and you could pay for your school and you could find a way to build a life with dignity. And I think that should be sort of our stake in the ground for every bill that we pass and what we're looking to do. And what that would require to build that good life, we need to continue and refocus on the opportunities for the people that live here to have good paying jobs. We need to focus on our education system so that kids in elementary school and middle school and high school and college can dream up what they want to do for the future and not sort of just fall into, I need to pay my rent, I need to do this. We are a state where people can dream and then have those dreams come true.
Yes.
I also think that we need to build a better healthcare system. We need to have more doctors, we need to have more specialists.
Yes.
I think we need to expand the medical school and all of those.
Right.
And then we need, again, the affordable housing, the attainable housing.
Yes.
Because I think once you have a good job, you feel good about your education and your future, you have a safe place to live, and you have, you know, an ability to take care of your health, there's no limit to what you could do. And that's sort of what Las Vegas is no limits.
Yeah. There's one good thing about, good I like about our state legislature is they're doing something or enacting something that is what the people need, okay? Not like as Vice President, Governor Walz is like, who are asking for this thing? You know, nobody. And they're enacting, you know, in some states they're enacting things that nobody was asking for it. They just, you know, but our state legislature here in Nevada, you know, most of them are teachers. Most of them are just, you know, ordinary people like us.
Yeah.
They're doing something for the state. Okay? We're almost out of time for this segment. Venicia, what would you like to tell our viewers? This is your pitch, your opportunity to speak to your voters.
Vote. It's the best thing that you can do. We have the citizens legislature, and there's a reason why people like myself and all of the other folks that I'm in the legislature with are teachers and legal aid lawyers and small business owners, and this great swath of different backgrounds is because people vote for us. And who you want to see in the legislature is not only who you should vote for, but it's who you should be. We have term limits, so not every legislator goes through their full 12 years of terms. So you should be thinking, if you have a good idea and you think that you should have more of a voice in the state of Nevada, then you should be thinking about running for office, because that's how all of this gets done. And it's great if you're represented by people who have your same beliefs and your same hopes. But if you feel like you could do a better job, or you feel like you represent a group of people that you don't think have been heard, you should vote, because that's what makes Nevada one of the most diverse states. It makes our legislature the first female majority. The best part of all of this is because we have all these voices, I think that we focus on passing bills that matter to people. Nevada has a long way to go with our population growth. We're always kind of trying to catch up instead of get ahead, but we can get there, and we can absolutely get there with a great legislature, great ideas, and great people, which is the best part about being in Nevada. So thank you for paying attention, thank you for being involved, thank you for volunteering, and thank you for considering the future of Nevada.
Assemblywoman Venicia Considine, thank you for talking to us today. Good luck on your race.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure having you here.
We're out of time for the show. Please join us next week again for The Pulse. I'm Joe Buban. Thank you for watching.
And I'm Sam Buban. God bless your week.